So your attention, for example, is mediated by unconscious forces. And you know that perfectly well. And this is another Freudian observation. You know, if you're sitting down to study, for example, your conscious intent is to study. But you know perfectly well that all sorts of distraction fantasies are going to enter the theater of your imagination non-stop and annoyingly. And there isn't really a lot you can do about that except maybe wait it out. You know, so you'll be sitting there reading and your attention will flicker away. You'll think about, I don't know, maybe you want to watch Jane the Virgin on Netflix or something like that. Or maybe it's time to have a peanut butter sandwich. Or you should get the dust bunnies out from underneath the bed. Or it's time to go outside and have a cigarette. Or maybe it's time for a cup of coffee. Or it's like all these subsystems in you that would like something aren't very happy just to sit there while you read this thing that you're actually bored by. And so they pop up and try to take control of your perceptions and your actions non-stop. Maybe you think, well, this is a stupid course anyways. Why do I have to read this damn paper? And what am I doing in university? And what's the point of life? It's like you can really get going if you're trying to avoid doing your homework. And then you might think, well, what is it in you that's trying to avoid? Because after all, you took the damn course and you told yourself to sit down. Why don't you listen? Well, because you're a mess. That's basically why. You haven't got control over yourself at all. And no more than I have control over this laptop.
조던피터슨의 말처럼 우리는 일을 할 때, 공부를 할 때, 무언가 집중을 해야 할 때 제대로 몰입하지 못할 때가 많습니다. 왜 하필 뭔가 하려고 할 때마다 다른 생각들이 우리를 방해할까요?
Okay, so there's the memory function of the unconscious, and there's the dissolutive function. That's an interesting one. The unconscious contains habits, once voluntary, now automatized, and dissociated elements of the personality, which may lead a parasitic existence. That's an interesting one. I would relate that more to procedural memory. You know, so what you've done is practice certain habits, whatever they might be. Let's call them bad habits. And you like those things to get under control, but you can't. So maybe when you're speaking, for example, you use like and you know, and you say a lot. And you've practiced that, so you're really good at it. And you'd like to stop it, but you don't get to because you've built that little machine right into your being, right? It's neurologically wired, and it's not under conscious control. And anything you practice becomes that. It becomes part of you, and that's another element of the unconscious, a different part. Well, you're not exactly in control of them. And I would say the less integrated you are, the less you're in control of them, and the more they're in control of you. And that can get really out of hand, you know. You can be, like with people who have obsessive compulsive disorder, for example, which seems to be, I would say, the dissolutive elements in some sense of the unconscious, the way that it's portrayed here. Poor people with obsessive compulsive disorder, they can spend half their time doing things that they can't really control, and they have very strong impulses to do them. And it's very hard on them to block them, you know. They'll almost panic if those things are blocked. And then you have people with Tourette's syndrome, you know, that they'll be doing all sorts of weird dances and spouting off obscenities and imitating people without being able to control it, and sometimes a little bit of antipsychotic medication can dampen that down, but it's as if there are these autonomous semi-spirits inside of them that grip control over their behavior and make them do things. And you know, you find that to some degree in your own life, because maybe you've become very attracted to someone, even maybe you don't want to be attracted to the person, and then you find yourself, you know, texting them when you know perfectly well that you should be going to bed, and you know, you're in a grip of something, and you can't control it, and that's all part of the unconscious, and all part of what Freud was studying.
조던피터슨 교수의 말대로 우리는 많은 시간을 무의식에 빼앗기고 그것이 집중도 방해하며 좋지 못한 방향으로 연결될 때가 많습니다. 그래서 의식적으로 생각하는 습관을 가져야 한다는 말을 하는 것 같습니다. 여기서 조금 더 보충할 부분은 없을까 생각하고 찾아보았는데요. 스터디코드 조나무 대표는 수천 명의 서울대생을 인터뷰하고 조사하며 서울대생들이 집중할 때 공통점을 발견했습니다. 그것은 바로 디벤백이었습니다. 쉽게 말해서 계속해서 몰입 상태를 가져가는 것이 아니라 몰입을 하다가 잠깐 멈추고 뒤로 물러나 의도적으로 생각할 시간을 갖는 겁니다. 지금 내가 몰입하고 있는 대상, 몰입할 대상이 나에게 어떤 이득을 주는 것인지, 내 목표의 방향에 맞는 행동인지, 지금은 스킬적인 것을 훈련하는 것인지 본질이 무엇인지 파악은 하고 행동하는 것인지 이런 식으로 생각할 시간을 가져야 하는 이유는 엉뚱한 방향으로 노력하는 것을 피할 수 있기 때문과 확신을 가지고 빠져들어야 잡생각 없이 더 효과적으로 몰입할 수 있기 때문이라고 합니다. 제 생각에 이것은 매 순간 활용할 수 있고 하루를 점검하는 데 활용할 수도 있고 주간, 월간 단위로 내가 하는 행동들을 점검하는 데 쓸 수도 있을 것 같습니다. 다양한 스토리로 다양한 관점을 갖길 원하는 사람이라면 지금 이 채널 구독해보세요. Cause we've been told that's the way our world goes round. Walking on the grounds we've always